All right, if you're running a food business in India, you already know this. Your entire operation, it hangs by a thread. And that thread is a steady supply of LPG. But what happens when that supply line snaps? Today, we are going to dive into a really practical, open-source plan to keep your kitchen humming, even when the gas stops. So, let's get real about what that vulnerability actually looks like.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Some shipping blockade in the Gulf, a sudden policy shift, and just like that, your burners are cold. Your staff, they're just standing around. And your business, it's shuttered. For how long? And what's that going to cost you? You know, this isn't some far-off what-if scenario. This is a very, very real threat.
You see, for most restaurants, and especially for cloud kitchens, that gas supply is everything. It's the lifeline. But what if I told you that lifeline is way more fragile than you probably think? Let's break down the actual numbers here.
Okay, so let's look at the hard data. India imports a huge chunk of its LPG. We're talking up to 60%. So when a shortage hits, guess who gets cut off first? It's not the households. Nope. It's commercial users. It's you. And here's the real shocker. Without a new supply, it only takes about 3 days for a kitchen to be forced to shut down. Completely. And the backup plan for most kitchens right now? It's basically nothing. Zero. So you might be asking, why doesn't every kitchen have a backup plan? Well, it's complicated. First off, you can't just stockpile extra LPG cylinders. That's illegal. Okay, so what about other fuels? Well, switching to something else requires a massive investment in new equipment. And honestly, most people just aren't aware that practical biogas solutions even exist for a commercial kitchen. Most of the designs you see out there, they're built for massive farms, not for urban restaurants. But here's the thing. What if you didn't have to replace LPG entirely? What if you just needed a shield? A backup that could cover, say, 30, 40, maybe even 50% of your energy needs. Just enough to keep you open when everyone else has to close. Now that's where this plan starts to get really, really interesting. And the concept behind it is, well, it's beautifully simple. You take all your daily organic waste, food scraps, vegetable peels, all that stuff, and you just put it into a sealed tank. It's called a digester. Inside, these naturally occurring microbes, they get to work. They break it all down and produce a methane-rich biogas that you can pipe, get this, directly to your commercial burners. You are literally turning your trash into cooking fuel. And here is the absolute key to making this work. We are not aiming for some impossible 100% replacement. The realistic target, the number that changes everything, is a 30 to 50% backup. See, this isn't about getting off the grid completely. It's about building a buffer, a guarantee that you can survive a major disruption.
So, why that specific range? 30 to 50%? Because that's the sweet spot. It's totally achievable with a pretty modest-sized digester. It's enough gas to keep your core menu items cooking. And just look at the business case. The payback period is only about 18 to 30 months. And get this, it's so simple, it doesn't even require a dedicated employee to manage it.
Okay, so to make this whole system work super efficiently, especially in a city or a semi-urban area, there's one key ingredient. It's something that is almost always overlooked, but it's absolutely critical for success.
You see, most people who try this just throw in their food waste and call it a day. But there is an overlooked ingredient that basically supercharges the entire process. It turns what's a good idea into a great one.
And here it is, cow dung. Yeah, you heard me right. Mixing cow dung with your food waste is the absolute game changer. Why? Because it jumpstarts the whole system with all the right bacteria. It perfectly balances this critical thing called the carbon to nitrogen ratio, and it can actually boost your gas yield by 20 to 30%. Plus, you can often get it for free from dairy farms, which are usually located just outside most Indian cities. Now, while this biogas model can work for a lot of different food businesses, it's almost perfectly designed for one type in particular, the cloud kitchen. Think about it. Cloud kitchens are the perfect candidates. You've got no dine-in seating, which means less regulatory hassle over your back-of-house setup. They're often on the ground floor, which makes installation way easier. And here's the big one. Because it's a delivery-only model, you can run at 40% capacity and still be in business, right? A regular restaurant that needs a full menu just can't do that. So you got to think of this as a dual-mode system. During good times, when everything's normal, it's just quietly in the background, saving you 30 to 50% on your monthly fuel bill. Nice. But during crisis times, that's when it becomes the backbone of your entire operation.
It is the single reason your kitchen stays open, taking orders, while all your competitors have gone dark. That is an unbelievable competitive advantage.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. How much does this thing actually cost? What's the return? And how would you even build it? This is your blueprint, your open source plan for resilience.
Okay, the upfront investment for a pilot system, it's surprisingly manageable. I mean, for a small cloud kitchen, you're looking at a total cost somewhere in the range of 33,000 to 66,000 rupees, and that covers everything, the tank, the piping, the sensors, the whole shebang to get you up and running. And the return you get on that investment? Well, you'll be saving somewhere between 1,700 and 3,300 rupees every single month. That means the system pays for itself in about 18 to 30 months. But just look at that last line. The revenue you could save by staying open during just one 3-day disruption. We're talking 30,000, 80,000 rupees, or even more. Think about that. The entire system can literally pay for itself in a single crisis.
And the framework to make this a reality is incredibly clear and simple. Phase 1, you design and build the system. Phase 2, you collect the data, see how it's working. And then the most important part, Phase 3, you publish everything. You share what you've learned openly so that other people can replicate it and build on your success.
And honestly, this is the most powerful part of the entire idea. There are no patents here. There's no big company trying to sell you a proprietary product. This is just a framework, an open source concept that anyone, and I mean anyone, is free to take, to use, and to improve upon. It's really all about collective resilience.
So that really just leaves one final question. Global supply chains are more fragile today than they've ever been. Another disruption, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So when that day comes, will your kitchen be open for business or will your lights be off?